right, we are live. Is there anyone who would like to open with a prayer?
I'll say it because I believe that the other two are recovering and voices are struggling.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
Our Father in heaven, we are very thankful for this opportunity we have to meet together once again as a class to discuss this case study. We ask that thou would please bless us with thy spirit and help us to communicate well with each other and to have a fruitful and meaningful discussion. We also ask that thou would please bless Adrienne and Nicole. They will continue to feel better and recover from the illnesses which are afflicting them. And we ask these favors in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I'm back, sorry.
No worries. Thanks, Kurt. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I had to skim through the case today because I've been the group leader for 2 other classes today. I'm wondering if anyone has a good understanding of the case and would be willing to give a quick synopsis.
I'm happy to oblige there.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Kurt.
Yeah, no worries. The case was, of course, about Lance Armstrong and his career in cycling, and it started off by just talking about kind of his childhood, what led him to get into the sport of cycling, and how he fought cancer and then went on to win the consecutive Tour de France's, and then the whole time denying allegations of doping. Which is what people kept saying that he was doing. And then it came out that he was doping. He had some former teammates that basically came forward and said, yeah, it was a big conspiracy. The whole sport dopes, and Lance organized and orchestrated this entire thing. And he went on for several more years denying the allegations until finally he admitted it, at which point, all of his titles were stripped away from him. He lost all of his sponsorship. He was, exiled from the cycling. It also tarnished the Livestrong organization that he put together to help fight cancer. So really, the way that he created his legacy was dishonest, and it came out in the end. And he is, disgraced because of it. Does that work?
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Kurt. Was there anything that Adrienne or Nicole wanted to add to that? Or I'm sure you did a pretty great job. We'll just let him not speak for a minute. Okay, so what is Armstrong's legacy? So basically he's known for triathlons, right?
Cycling.
Cycling. Okay, he's known for cycling.
And Livestrong. I mean, his cancer foundation has done a whole lot of good. The yellow bracelets, that was all started by him.
Right, I know, that was pretty cool. I actually, I had bracelets growing up, but I didn't know that it was him who started that. So that was pretty cool to learn today.
But in the end, his legacy was, basically destroyed. His name is pretty synonymous with being a cheat and a hack at this point. Though, the Livestrong Foundation is still there and cycling still exists, but it's not held in the same prestige that it once was. And a lot of that was because of what Lance and his team did. And they've all said they weren't alone in it. Everybody was doing it. He continues to view that he wasn't really cheating. He was doing what everybody else was doing, is kind of his mantra. But, to the common person who has no idea and just reads about him, he's a disgrace.
Right. And it's kind of unfortunate that, he has that reputation when really there were so many other people who were doing it as well. It's just sad because he was such an idol to everyone. And it's just discouraging to see someone who has just lied constantly. And that just probably broke the hearts of children and everyone who supported him along the way. So. All right. So Armstrong organized and led what was perhaps the most sophisticated and comprehensive cheating program in the history of sports. So we kind of talked about who suffered from this, but who are the people that suffered from his cheating, and what were the costs of that?
Everyone who, all his teammates, it was interesting to read. I didn't realize how much of a team sport cycling was. I always considered it an individual sport. But after reading this article, it made me realize that everyone who worked on the team with him, they put their own careers on hold to assist him in his cheating. And so he ruined the lives of a lot of people, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely.
I found that interesting too, Adrian, about cycling being a team sport. I had no idea either. It's crazy. And I'll go on to just add to what she said. Great job, by the way. Not only the team members, but their families, the doctors, the organizations that sponsored, the fans.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like we lost someone.
Nicole dropped out.
Okay. Yeah, great inputs. I think for me, reading this case and seeing like all the people that went behind Lance Armstrong, they kind of were to the public eye not really there, or they weren't recognized as much as they should have been, which I thought was kind of sad because they did a lot of work and they helped him win. So that was just something that I wanted to point out there. But those were both really great things. Okay, so were the other riders, Hamilton, Landis, and those who testified to loyal, or that were loyal to Armstrong? Oh, sorry, this question is confusing. Okay, so Hamilton and Landis, those were others that testified to taking substances as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm not understanding this question, so I'm just going to skip it. Okay, so the next thing, it says, think about a situation where you...
I've got,
Sorry?
because I did the whole post online, I've got some input on that, I guess, to
that would be
just
great.
throw in there. Were they too loyal to him or not loyal enough? And I think it was kind of both at different times and for different reasons. So, in the midst of all of the cheating, when it was benefiting them, they were loyal to the lie, right? And then in the end, when they came forward and kind of outed him, he might say that they were being unloyal to him, but yet in forcing him to be honest, because real friends help you become a better person, maybe they were more loyal to him because they came forward in the end and made him admit it. Does that make sense? It's kind of like, it really depends on how you look at the question of loyalty and what it really means, whether it means keeping somebody's secret or does it mean exposing a secret they shouldn't be keeping. You've got really good friends in life who help you become a better person by making you face your faults versus helping you hide your faults. So does that make them more loyal, or are they more loyal when they assist you in hiding those things? I think that's my deep thought for the day.
That's good, Kurt.
Yeah, that is really deep. I don't know. That's a tough question. Thanks for kind of explaining that. The question was worded a little bit different. And so anyway, yeah, very good points. So the next thing, it says, think about a situation where you witnessed a leader, formal or informal, make a decision for others that made you uncomfortable. What was the situation and how did you feel about it? So I actually have an example. Let's see. So I've worked with the same company for about 7 years now. I work as a team sales representative for a sporting goods company, and we sell name brand products like Nike, Under Armour, Adidas to teams all across the United States. And my boss decided that he was going to join this program where we would be reselling these products to different companies who would be reselling them to their end users. So there's a little bit of a gray area that way, because technically when you sign contracts with Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, etc., you're not supposed to do this. You can send them to you can sell them to your end users, but you're not supposed to sell them to people who will then go ahead and sell them. So he sat us down and said, okay, here's what we're doing. Let's go ahead and put Mikhail on it. Mikhail will be the main person for this. They're called ASI distributors. And so I was in charge of all the ASI leaders. What I didn't know is that there was this gray area. It was illegal to be selling to these people. I found out because Nike had contacted me one day and said, hey, Mikhail, who is this person that you were sending all these goods to? Because they were buying in bulk. And I said, oh, this is a company that I've been working with. And I had no idea that I wasn't supposed to say anything or, cover my boss's back. But he almost ended up losing the account. And then he then told Nike, we're going to stop doing this. We're not going to do it anymore. Let's go ahead and keep our account. I promise we won't do it anymore. So then he had a meeting with us again and said, okay, so Nike has found out that we've been doing this, but look at all the revenue we bring in from it. We can't lose this portion of the company or our company is going to fail. We're going to have to close down. And so he said, this is what we're going to do to kind of get away or get around it. So we were required to ship all the products into our company and then ship them back out to these customers. So it was kind of like this big thing. We were in this gray area, but what am I supposed to do, right? My boss is telling me that I need to do something, and or I'm going to lose my job, right? And at the time, my husband was not working. He was just full-time school. And so I was the main provider. I was in the situation, I was pretty uncomfortable, but at the same time, I said, I need to provide for my family. And so I stayed and I did it. And looking back, that probably wasn't the best thing, because I was not being honest with these big companies, these name brand companies that I was working for. Anyway, long story short, we had this new guy come into the company and he said, okay, I understand that we're in a gray area. We're going to get you out of it. And he found a way to make it legal. And so now everything is good. But for a moment there, we were really in a gray area, and it probably wasn't the best thing to do. But I was under pressure because I didn't have any other income. It was a really good job, but I feel like I could have been better about maybe speaking up my mind or just leaving the company. Anyway, so that was my long explanation. Does anyone else have an example or a situation?
I just want to say, great example. It's crazy that things like that actually happen, and people are placed in those situations, and I think it happens more frequently than anybody really wants to admit. I've got a couple that I could share, but I think that we've spent quite a bit of time on that question, unless anybody else has anything else. But great job, Mikhail.
Okay.
I don't, but thank you, Mikhail, for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so the next question is, think about a situation where you witness talented followers follow a leader into an uncomfortable or bad zone. What was the situation? What were the results? And did anyone object?
kind of want to see if Adrienne and Nicole have anything they want to add there.
I don't really have an example as far as like illegal or anything like that. I have been worked for a company who the leadership was poor, and it ended up the company had to shut down. I don't know if that is the same.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything with work situations that come to my mind, but like I work at the middle school and I see, kids that are good kids follow, their peers into bad situations that they shouldn't have been in the first place, and the consequences will vary depending on what the situation, played out to be. So stuff like that I see every day, but nothing like in my job that I can really think of.
I think that you're both right on point there. I don't think it has to be a specific thing, but we witness uncomfortable things and we're party to things that are uncomfortable. And, we see good people have to follow bad leaders down roads that they object to, I think, on a very regular basis. I'll share one example. Early on in my career in the restaurant business years ago, in companies you measure everything. There's always a scorecard, and there's different parts of the scorecard, whether it's profitability, sales, guest satisfaction, whatever it might be. We measure these things, and you often have contests that revolve around those results and/or bonuses tied to those results, right? Um, at one point, there was a customer satisfaction index that was tied directly to a monetary result that units could achieve if they, met a certain criteria. I think it was like, 60% overall satisfaction, and there was like a $500 kicker into the bonus plan for that period. And I worked for an individual who basically had a whatever it takes attitude in a bad way. They wanted that money and they wanted to get there, and so they would actually take the guest surveys and then hand them out to different individuals who worked in the unit, and would basically give them quarters to go across the street to the gas station to call these surveys in to increase the score so that they could, win the money. And I wasn't part of that store, but I heard about it, and I was actually the whistleblower because things like that just drive me crazy. You have invalid data and it skews the numbers and it makes goals impossible for everybody else. But I felt bad for the individuals who, did it. We ended up firing the general manager who was doing that, and then disciplined several of the assistants and a few of the staff members who were involved in, I don't know if you want to call it a conspiracy, but involved in this cheating ring, right? And it didn't end well. And some of those assistant managers had that stain on their career for a long time and were even passed up for promotion because they participated in this other person's idea. That stuck with me because I was young in my career, as to you never want to do things the wrong way because it's always going to come out in the end. But leaders influence people that work for them in really big ways, and can really damage their careers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing that example. Okay, sorry. So what are some basic principles that guide your guys' integrity?
I'll just chime in and say the principles of the gospel.
That's a good one. Or those are all good ones. Um, let's see. I I probably haven't been the best example because of the situation that I was in, but I think from now from now on, I just need to be better about standing up for my beliefs. And I think the principles of the gospel is a um, great way to guide our integrity. Adrienne and Nicole, did you have anything to add before we move on?
No, because principles of the gospel pretty much sums it up, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. And just like in my sports and stuff, like I'm one of the kids' biggest role models. And so if I don't have integrity, I can't expect them to have integrity. So, you know, we're always taught, like, even when no one's watching, like, are you going to still do the right thing? And, I always try to do that. And at school, the kids are constantly watching. So, like, even if you think they're not, they're watching and they see, like, what you're doing. And so if you're not doing the right thing or telling the truth, like, they're right on you. And I don't know if you get caught up in it, but, they tell me about other people and other situations and stuff like that. So just always keeping that and keeping yourself in line is just the best thing to do.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
That's awesome, Nicole. My little ones are the ones that always call me out when I'm doing stuff that I'm not supposed to be doing. So kids are great examples of making sure that we're in line. I just wanted to add one more thing when it comes to like the principles of the gospel guiding us to do the right thing. And I guess this is kind of piggybacking on something you said a little bit ago, Mikhail. Kind of like you're in a gray area and you wish you'd have done better. Know that we've all been there and done that, and the gospel gives us a way to, you know, make ourselves right with it. The principles of the gospel are not only guiding principles in the way we live our lives, but it's also our safety net for when we do make mistakes, that we don't have to carry those burdens with us and that we can overcome and get better. Um, you know, that's what it's
Yeah,
about.
I like what you said, Kurt. And like with that, if we don't make mistakes, like can we really always learn the lesson that we needed to learn in the first place? So, I look at my mistakes as just a learning curve and having to do better the next time, or say a bigger situation presents itself where I needed that little situation to understand, like, hey, I gotta be right in this new situation or whatever.
100%. Great comment, Nicole. I agree with you entirely. Our mistakes are what teach us the biggest life lessons.
I agree. Thank you both. Um, okay, so we are just going to go ahead and wrap up. But the last question is how will you personally measure your life and how will you measure your success? I think for me, this is B321, right? B321.
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. So I've really enjoyed the accountability project in this class. Um, I think that it's really helped me to um, kind of see the areas in my life where I'm struggling and how I can improve them or improve them. And I think being able to, track my improvements and have others see how well I'm doing, that helps me measure my life as far as progress goes. Um, and I think that just always sitting back and thinking to yourself, okay, where are areas that I'm struggling in? What can I do to be better? Um, how can I help those around me? How can I be a better instrument in the Lord's hands? And I think that when we take the time to sit down and do those things, we can find where we need progress and how we can start to, measure success in our lives and how we can progress to where we want to be.
A great answer. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share before we go ahead and close?
No, I think you covered that well. Maybe I would just say, in my relationships, like say for example, my daughter, I would how she develops, I would take that as a measurement for success in my life.
Yeah, that's a great point. I don't know if you guys know. I think we talked about it, but I have my first child is due at the end of May, and I'm really excited. But also, I was talking with a group of people the other day, and I all of a sudden just got really nervous. Like I have to be, a really great example, and I need to watch like what I'm doing because sometimes I just don't catch what I'm doing. Um, because I want to be an example to this baby as it grows up. And anyway, so really good point there. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else before we close?
I just agree with you guys. So good points.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for all your preparation today. I hope you two start to feel better. And I'll go ahead and end the meeting and share the link. And you guys have a good rest of the week.
Thanks, Mikhail. Thanks for covering that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks everybody.
No
And
problem.
I've
Bye.
got it next week and I'll set it up and send it out.
Awesome. Thanks, Kurt.
Bye, guys.
Bye.